And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're going to be taking a look at the next wave of ships for Star Wars, the X-Wing Miniatures attack game. We're going to be taking a look at 4 new ships that just came out. These ships come in blister packs, just like most of the ships come out right now. We have some really cool new ships here that are available. Support ships and bombers, basically, would be how I describe this new wave. We're going to take just a kind of a look at them to see what you get. Here we go. Alright, first thing we want to do is take a look at the models. Now, first the Lambda class shuttle. I was really surprised at how big this was. I guess it's that big. I thought it would be the same size as the rest, but it's big. Now the wings fold up, which is probably likely, you'll probably end up flying it so it looks a little like this when you play with it, because the wings being down will cause it to bump in other ships, but still, looks cool. This is a ship I could see you putting on your shelf. It's still kind of hard to imagine a Lambda class shuttle in competition with everything else, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Then the TIE Bomber, which is easily one of my favorite models of the TIE ships that there is. And then the B-Wing. Now this is a very fragile model. You can see that I've bent my guns here. I'm afraid to bend them back into place that they'll snap off, because that actually has happened to my other B-Wing. Where I'll glue it back on, but you can see one of the guns snapped off. Of course, you could argue that I should treat my ships better. And then, of course, come on. This is kind of a dorky looking ship if you think about it. But the nostalgic flair for me to see this ship. Oh, I loved playing the games with this ship in, so this is great. So the models are very good. So 3 small ones and 1 large ship model. The large ship model comes with some new rules and a new scenario, and also explaining how to use large ships in case you haven't bought one yet. But if you're buying this before the Millennium Falcon, come on. Now we'll take a closer look at the ships. Here we have the Lambda class shuttle ship, and the first thing you'll notice is that huge shields, lots of structure, and decent damage. It's just that the maneuverability of the Lambda class shuttle is lacking when compared to the other ships. But the actual, it can sit there and soak up a ton of hits. One of the things that it can do is, you'll notice on its dial here that it actually can sit still. Now that's a unique thing. So you can move it up and basically then sit it still. Of course, that is a red maneuver, and most of the maneuvers on it are red. Not, I guess, most of them, but any kind of extra maneuver or turning. So it's an unwieldy thing, but the fact that it can soak up all this damage. And then it can have a few things placed on it, and we'll talk a little bit more about those later. And there's some cool special abilities. I do like Colonel Jendon's especially, because you can assign one of your blue target lock tokens to a friendly ship. So this was specifically designed as a support ship, and you can definitely see that. So if we go to the Rebels then, their support ship is pretty much the HWK 290. If you look at its maneuverability, it's not that great. In fact, none of the ships in this series are going to have that great of maneuverability. You can see here that this one can go okay, but if you try to speed it up at all or maneuver it, it's going to be difficult. But this ship here has a much smaller structure. Of course, it's a lot cheaper. This is 16 points, while you're paying 27 points or so for the shuttles to put those in there. However, this ship is cheap to put in. It can have a few things added to it, and it does some really cool things. For example, here, Rourke here, at the start of a combat phase, you can choose one other friendly ship at range 1 to 3, and that ship's pilot has a skill value of 12. So you put this with another ship that you really want to boost up, and it's really useful. I mean, John's has the same thing here. When another friendly ship at range 1 to 3 is attacking, if you have no stress tokens, you can take a stress token to allow that ship to roll an additional attack die. These are great supportability. So you're not going to be, I don't think you'll be flying too many of these in your force. I'm only probably ever going to take one, maybe two at the most in a large combat situation, but they're a lot of fun. Now, on the other hand, we have the bombers. Now the bombers, first of all, the TIE bomber itself, I really like the fact, I mean, look how much stuff this thing can hold here at the bottom. And especially when you get to the bigger ones like Captain Jonas here or Major Reimer. These, I mean, no shields, a typical TIE thing, and decent structure, but the fact that they can hold all these things, especially bombs, and drop them is pretty good. Now their maneuverability, it's better than the B-Wing actually, and it's, you know, it's not horrible, but it's obviously less than the things around it, but it can pack some major firepower. Now, on the other hand, the B-Wing has a very similar thing. It can carry less. It's not nearly as good as the TIE bomber when it comes to maneuverability. You can see it here. It actually can do a few more things than the TIE bomber, but has a whole lot of stress tokens that it will be adding. But the fact is it has shields, and those shields can make all the difference in the world. The fact that these things have shields, I'll take probably a B-Wing up against the TIE bomber any day, even though I think the TIE bombers are cooler. They can carry fewer things, but they have shields. And a whole lot of cool little cards are included in this version. A lot of things that we can see here. The Saboteur, where you can flip an enemy's damage over to the face-up side. That's a pretty cool thing. And for only 2 points. Certainly worth putting maybe on one of your ships to go in. Or the Recon Specialist to be able to add an extra focus token to your ship. The Intelligence Agent, the Navigator. Rebel Captive. I like this one. The first ship that declares you the target immediately gets a stress token. Okay, I don't know. I just get a kick out of that one. And a Weapons Engineer. And a Flight Instructor. And then Darth Vader. Darth Vader has a really cool ability. You can take 2 damage to cause that ship to suffer 1 critical damage. There just might come the point where that really matters. So it's almost suicidal, I guess, in a sense sometimes, but a lot of fun. Then, we already have regular proton torpedoes, more of them, but now we have advanced proton torpedoes. And I wanted to put them side by side so you can see how the differences are. The advanced proton torpedoes have a much smaller range. They can only shoot with range 1, while the proton torpedoes are 2 to 3. But they have 5 damage, and you can change 3 of your blank results to the focus results. That's really cool. They cost 2 more points, you can see, than the proton torpedoes, but I would load these suckers up. I know that you have to get close, but if you have the B-Wing, why not? You got the shields, fly right up in the opponent's face and launch these suckers. Very cool. Fire control system, I like this one a lot. When you perform an attack, you get a target lock on a defender. So that's a very useful thing to have on there. Sensor jammers, advanced sensors, anti-pursuit lasers. This is one I like a lot. It can only go on a large ship, but why not? After an enemy ship executes a maneuver that causes it to overlap your ship, you roll an attack die, and they can take 1 damage. So if those small ships are coming up to your large ship so that you can't shoot at them. I mean, you have a ship with a lot of firepower, some of your bigger ships. And so the enemy ships are coming up. They're just going to take damage if they do that. Or at least have an ability to take damage. This is one I will use often. I like this a lot. I think it's a cool idea. The anti-pursuit lasers. And let's see what else we got. We got assault missiles. They're great. And ion cannon turrets where you can hit your enemy for those. Blaster turrets. Then we got bombs. Now, we already had some bombs from Boba Fett's ship, but seismic charge and the proton bomb, I really like the proton bomb. I like dropping this for a variety of reasons. One, it's a lot of fun to drop these things because it's fun to see someone get nailed with them, but when they do get nailed with them, especially with the proton bomb, they take 1 face-up damage, which can be really devastating. And then we got some names. You can name their ship, of course, the Moldy Crow. And then there's a heavy laser cannon, auto blaster, and an ion cannon for the ships. And so I like these because I think buying these 4 added a whole lot of weaponry that we can use on the ships. Now the question is, should you get this? Well, if you love the X-Wing miniatures game, you already got them. I mean, so why are you watching this? I guess if you're kind of hesitant on it, okay, if you're playing X-Wing miniatures, you want the X-Wings, you want the Y-Wings, you want the TIE Fighters and the Advanced TIE Fighters. Then you want the Millennium Falcon. Why not? And Slave One, that's just crazy talk not to get those. And then the A-Wings. Now this one is more of a how many do you need situation, I think. I have 2 of each of the ships, and I think I'm pretty content with that. Most of the time I would just actually take 1 of the Lambda class shuttles. I can easily take 2 of the B-Wings and 2 of the TIE of the TIE Bombers, depending on the situation. I really like the firepower that they can both really deal out. You bring them in, defend them with some of the other ships, that's great. The thing I like best about, and I like the support ships, as I said, but the thing I like best about this set is all these cards that these things add. I have so many options, even with my original ships. What can I add to these ships? I have all sorts of guns and weapons, and which ones are the best. And to me, that makes the game a lot of fun, the more customization that you have. Not to mention, some of the cool characters that I like are included with this. So this really, if Fantasy Flight said that this was it, I would be very, very content at this point in time. I believe that there is 14 or 16 different models at this point in time. Most of the major ships, the small ships, are now available. Having the Moldy Crow gives us the fact that this is a ship that's not from the movies. It's a ship that's actually from a video game, which means that they're going to go into the extended or expanded universe. So maybe we'll see stuff from books and characters from books and things. And I think that would be really cool and neat to see added to the game. So there's a lot of hope as we go into the future. But as for now, we're going to bomb you.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!
There.